Bringing the passion for the Pacific League, it's PAWcast, the officially unofficial podcast of the Pacific League English YouTube channel. Hosted by Jimbo Bernicki, Michael Bealey, and Gabe Lerman.
Good morning, good evening, and good everything in between. Welcome to the podcast, episode 3. We are still going. I am your wonderful host, Mr. James Bernicki. I said James Bernicki? I should have said Jimbo Bernicki. I've revealed myself. And to my right, we have the illustrious, the fantastic, the ever so talented Mr. Gabe Lerman.
Good evening, friends and neighbors. I am stuck here trying to figure out how to wedge a Japanese baseball game into my upcoming trip to the country in October. I hope my favorite teams can make the playoffs when I'm in Osaka. Come on, you Buffaloes.
Come on, they're going to make the playoffs. I think we all know that. And to my other side, we have the also fantastically talented, my right-hand man of the commentary booth, Mr. Michael Bealey.
I'm also looking to plan my trip to Japan again this year. Hopefully trying to fit some baseball games into that too.
I am the only person not going to Japan this year. This makes me very sad. So we have a lot to get to today, but first I just want to talk about, how last week we kicked off with talking about the MVP race. The MPB, or the Pacific League, I should say, did their official announcements for the MVPs of April. They had a hitter's MVP and a pitcher's MVP. Pitcher's MVP, to no one's surprise, Mr. Roki Sasaki. 38 strikeouts over 4 games, an ERA of 1, almost as perfect to start as you can have. Even taking into account with those 38 strikeouts, he hasn't pitched that many innings. On the other side, though, for the hitting MVP, it was not Yuki Yanagita, as we might have predicted, but Takeya Nakamura of the Seibu Lions, who also had a really fantastic kickoff to the season, batting .364, 7 home runs, 14 RBI, and slugging a crisp .727. He really has had one of the best beginnings to a season of his illustrious career already so far.
For a 39-year-old to be MVP of March and April is rather impressive. We're talking about someone who's been with the Seibu Lions since 2002. He's won 7 Best Nines, 6 Home Run Leader awards, 1 All-Star Game MVP, and got himself a Japan Series ring back in 2008. Takeya Nakamura is absolutely worthwhile, jersey acquisition, baseball Hall of Fame. He's surprising everyone with his performance so far. It's a late career surgence, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. He's really picking up where some of the other bats on his team have been struggling a bit. But the Lions have they've been really hit or miss, and he has kind of backslid since the announcement of this award. But hopefully he can get back on track for the rest of the season.
Also, next up, I want to congratulate some Pacific Leaguers on some rather notable historical achievements and career achievements over the last week. First off, banzai to Yoshihisa Hirano of the Orix Buffaloes for reaching 200 holds across the NPB and MLB to go with his 228 saves. If he gets to 250 saves, and he could this season with the way the Buffaloes are going, he'll be eligible for the Golden Players Club, which is a Hall of Fame that players get inducted into when they hit career milestones such as 250 saves. Hirano was drafted by the Buffaloes and started his career back in 2006, earning 5 All-Star nods and leading the PL in saves in 2014, before signing with the Diamondbacks in 2018 and then hanging on with the Mariners in 2020 before rejoining the Buffaloes in 2021. Oh, and finally winning the Japan Series last year. So congratulations to Hirano-san. Also, congrats to reliever Naoki Miyanishi, who made his 823rd mound appearance earlier today, May 16th, 2023, which ties him with former Major Leaguer Ryota Igarashi for 7th most in NPB history. Miyanishi has only been with the Fighters since 2008. He's a 3-time All-Star, 3-time most valuable setup pitcher in the Pacific League, and over his 694 innings of work, he has 633 strikeouts and a 2.48 career ERA. Oh, and his 387 holds are the most in league history. So, trivia question for Jimbo and Mike. Do you know who the top player in mound appearances is?
Total mound appearances. No idea.
Like in relief or just all
Total.
forms?
All forms.
I'll say Hall of Famer and former SoftBank manager Kiyoshi Kudo.
Nope.
Really?
Future Hall of Famer Hitoki Iwase, who over 20 seasons with the Dragons racked up 1,002.
Wow.
I figured it had to be Kudo because he pitched for forever.
Keep in mind,
That's-
Iwase was only a reliever. He was never a
Yeah,
starter.
he would
The
get back to back.
that's
Yeah.
like 50 appearances a year. That's crazy. That's really impressive.
And the Pacific League leader is Tetsuya Yoneda, who pitched in 949 games, 626 of which were starts with the Hankyu Braves, part of what is now the Orix Buffaloes.
Wow, damn. And Michael, were there any news stories you want to talk about that you've seen so far this week?
I got a bit of a fun one for you. Not so much stat related, but it is, baseball related.
I
It was
hope
actually
so.
going around social media quite a lot in a way that only Japanese social media can make something trend. The Marines team store has new cheering towels for sale. You heard that right.
Okay, and what's so crazy about them?
It is just a gray towel with 15 different players' name and number on them. They're already sold out.
That sounds pretty fun.
So it's a whole team cheer towel as opposed to like the single ones that
Oh,
we've
no,
seen.
no, they're single players.
Wait, what?
Okay, I'm confused.
Yeah.
It's a gray towel with the one player's name and number on it.
Okay,
And
so
there's
just
15
because it's
available.
gray, because it's new, they sell out. I mean, we know Lotte fans are among the most dedicated in Japan, but that's a little much in terms of selling out right away.
In case, well, I guess a lot of people needed new towels.
I
Some
guess with
players
how cold it
available
is
were
out there, I mean they're just bundling up. It's everyone was buying multiple to make a little quilt. That's what's
doubles as a
happening.
scarf.
A little
You
hand
get
muff, too, yeah.
you get Sasaki, Naoya Matsuda, Koki Yamaguchi, Ogino, all your favorites are there.
And in the summer, you soak them in water and then you cool off.
Yeah.
Really versatile.
I love a big fluffy Seiya Inoue one, just like extra large. So that'd be great.
There's a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference in there about always bring your towel, but we'll move on. Now, Mike and I are both planning on going to Japan, and maybe you do too. That's why we prepped up a special segment that will roll out every week here on the podcast called How to Speak Pacific League, presented by yours truly, of course. Take a listen.
How to Speak Pacific League. Lesson 1. The Loan Words. Because baseball was brought to Japan from America, most of the terminology is borrowed from English. The pronunciation will be adjusted to fit Japanese, but these are straightforward. Auto, seifu, fasto, secondo, sado, home, batter, pitcher, catcher, foul, left, center, right, fly, liner, bullpen, bench, coach. You get the picture. There are also contractions of loanwords, like goro for gorondo, which refers to ground balls, and combinations of loanwords, like four-ball or foaboru for a walk, or deadboru for a hit by pitch.
You'll be able to hear those words and others by tuning in to Pacific League, both the highlights here on the English YouTube channel, as well as through Pacific League TV, our subscription streaming service. For only 1,500 yen a month, about $15 US, you'll get access to every Pacific League game, an archive stretching back years, almost every farm team game, and especially with Interleague just around the corner, you'll be able to watch Interleague games hosted at Pacific League stadiums. Go to pacificleague.com for more information.
Oh, and that reminds me, while we were discussing a bit of interleague there, we do have the Midnight Matinee coming up. Gabe, can you tell us a little bit more about which game's coming up this upcoming week?
For all my fellow Canadians, you're going to love this. It's the middle of Victoria Day long weekend, Sunday, May 21st at midnight Eastern, or Saturday, May 20th at 10 p.m. Pacific. The Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles will be hosting the Chiba Lotte Marines, and Mike and I will be on the call. It's going to be a great time. We always love having you in the chat, contributing your thoughts, slagging on the other league who doesn't stream, boo hiss, and we're going to have a great time. Looking forward to seeing you then. Brew a pot of coffee or keep your Coca-Colas handy.
I will probably be there in the chat too, though I will probably fall asleep soon after because while you struggle to wake up early, I am narcoleptic when it comes to staying up late.
And also, quick scuttlebutt, we may have an extra broadcast or two coming up.
That's true. We can't confirm anything, but we are working on something very special.
With our beloved producers who continue to let us do this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bowing to the unforeseen forces that allow us to continue to do what we do. But yeah, no, man, if we can get the special thing, which we won't announce yet, that is a huge get for us, and I think that'll blow in big numbers when it comes to viewers. Stay tuned for that. All right, so as we do every week, we do our little around the horn segment where each of us have our teams that we've been watching and keeping an eye on. Gabe, we'll start with you. How are the league leading Orix Buffaloes doing this week?
They're on a tie streak at the moment. They are going a perfectly 500 over the last 6 games, 2 wins, 2 losses, and their last 2 games have been ties. Remember, fans, ties are a thing after 12 innings in NPB. Still, they're a game up on the Lotte Marines for the Pacific League lead, and since they were the first team to 20 wins in all of NPB, a little bit of interesting historical trivia. All 5 previous times the Buffaloes franchise has been the first team to 20 wins. They've won the pennant. This time could be number 6.
Ooh, that is an interesting little tidbit. And actually, quick little diversion. I have a question for you guys. How do you feel about ties in Japanese baseball?
They're better than the solution that the Major League Baseball has. I'll be upfront on that.
Now, when you say the solution Major League Baseball has, do you mean sort of prior to this year when it was games just go forever, or are you talking in reference to the Ghost Runner? The Ghost Runner.
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard someone refer to it as the Manfred Man, and the classic
Yeah.
rock enthusiast in me likes that.
Yeah,
but
the Manfred
my thinking is if neither team has played well enough to win after 3 extra innings, neither team deserves the win. I'll get off my soapbox now.
I like that as analysis. I sort of like I prefer, I love the spirit of a game going on until someone wins it, but I also really admire this sort of ethos. I feel like the reason ties in Japan, it's out of respect to the fans. It's like, all right, you know what? We're not doing anything here. Everyone go home. Like, we're sorry. We had to put you through that.
It also makes sure everyone can get home before the last train leaves.
Yeah, exactly.
That's also a consideration. Most train systems in Japan close up shop around midnight. There's no 1 a.m., 2 a.m. service, and that's a lot of people to take care of on the taxis.
Yeah, for sure. That's true.
I'm fine with them. Keyword being fine. I mean, if you're going to wake up early, it is kind of off-putting for, something you woke up early for to just end in a tie like that. But I felt a bit more stronger about it prior to my first trip to Japan. And then when I went, I started catching a lot of last trains home. And then I thought about it. I was like, I completely understand it now.
Yeah, like if the train wasn't running, you would be in trouble.
and it's not a consistent thing that happens. I've been to 15 NPB games in person, plus the dozen or so that I've watched online through the Midnight Matinee and through Pacific League TV and other services. Never seen a tie in person out of the 15 games. Never broadcasted a tie here on YouTube.
Well, I guess I just have bad luck because I swear I've seen 3 ties this year just in my watching my games. That's just me having bad luck.
Don't watch the Buffaloes anymore. That 2 ties in a row is enough.
I mean, I've gotten the Hawks had a couple ties this week, and so did the Lions. The Lions,
one of which was against the Buffaloes. Yeah,
that's fair.
So a couple of big offensive wins during that span, 8-2 over Rakuten and Sendai and 8-3 over SoftBank at home. Believe it or not, the Buffaloes are leading all of Japan in WRC Plus, even with losing Yoshida. Catcher Tomoya Mori is second in the PL in all 3 triple slash categories. Outfielder Keita Nakagawa is 4th in OPS and WRC Plus, and infielder Marwin Gonzalez is 5th in slugging. I also noticed that Yoshinobu Yamamoto now leads the Pacific League in FIP, fielder independent pitching, with 1.85. Given that that's almost a run lower than his ERA, he's just getting unlucky in his starts.
Interesting. So, Michael, what is going on in Marines land?
Well, they've been playing a bit better since we had our last episode. Last time they were 4 for their last 10. Last time we spoke, now they are 5 for 3 in their last 10 with a tie. And I mean, as we said last night, they tied with Orix. But Tanaichi pitched a really good game last night. 3 hits, 1 run, 9 Ks in 9 innings, with Hiromioka driving in the only run. So, I mean, it would have been a complete game had it not gone into extras. And that was the first time he had gone 9 innings since July 25th in 2008. Back then, that was a complete game shutout against Seibu. And Kenta Chitani has a 9-game hitting streak currently going on, so that's fun to look out on. But I think the big news for the week is there's still no word on when Roki Sasaki's next start will be.
Yeah, that's
According to the
unfortunate.
manager, he's still dealing with a blister on his game from the 5th. So I'm wondering what kind of blister he's got. But as I said last week, when you have a player like Sasaki, if he's not 100%, you take care of him and you listen to him. So,
Yeah, for
some people
sure.
might sound like, oh, it's just a blister. But I mean, it's a blister on Sasaki. You have to take care of that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's definitely cause for concern. I mean, you hope it wouldn't be cause for concern, but now that he's missed like at least one start, now we're looking at maybe two. Like, yeah, what kind of I hadn't even thought about what kind of blister is that? That sounds nasty.
I believe he was pushed to the 16th, and they've already decided that's not going to happen. Then I saw the 18th floating around, and that's still leery. So I mean, you don't really want him to miss almost the entire month of May, especially after being a MVP, last month.
Yeah,
An
well, I
interesting,
mean, he is usually the Friday starter, so maybe the 19th, but I guess we'll see. It is day to day, right?
pretty much, and an interesting thing. Last week, Polanco was still the leader in home runs for the team with 3, and this week he still is.
Yep, that sounds like the Marines I know and love.
So, I mean, yeah, you have the wind blowing in at night coming from the ocean, but you also do go on a visiting. I
There
can't.
are road games, not
There
in
are road games, yeah. So, I
Chiba.
mean, and some of those take place in domes, so the wind can't be blamed for everything unless they're turning on the fans or something.
Yeah.
And some interesting now. It is Lotte related, but there is a college player, Yusuke Bito, who is currently known as the Oral of Aichi University. He aims to be like Sugimoto of Orix, but here's the Lotte connection. His manager is Mitsuchika Hirai, who was a player for the Marines for 14 years.
Wow, okay. That's cool.
So you kind of have to wonder, is he talking in his ear? I mean, he's got to be drafted because he's in college, but is he going back to the Marines? Are the Marines talking to him? Are they getting some extra scouting reports on him? Is that somebody the Marines are going to take? And he's a big power hitter. He's 6'4", 210 pounds.
Wow. Okay. That's a big guy. Holy crap.
So, that's a. And one more thing, not many people are talking about CC Mercedes.
Oh yeah, no, he's been solid.
He's been really good, but it's like I'm not seeing everyone or anyone really talk about him. Like he has a 1-3 record, but you can't really fault any of the losses against him. April 29th, he gives up 3 runs. That's completely doable for an offense. April 20th, he gives up 2 runs. Completely doable. April 13th, he gives up 2 runs. These are all outcomes an offense should be able to, work with.
Should.
And yeah, I mean, he's still pitching great, and I don't think he's getting the recognition he deserves.
No, yeah, no, he's been really solid. Most of the Marines games, yeah, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, usually when I watch the Marines and he's playing, I'm like, oh, he's pitching well, but the Marines have scored no runs today. So what are they gonna do, right? Yeah, it must be really frustrating for him, but hopefully he can keep it up, and hopefully the offense can give him some support and carry on.
Major league reference, but I'm gonna start calling this stat the DeGrom stat, where you pitch really well and you give up 1 run and you still get a loss.
What we would have called that back in the day would be the Pedro Martinez stat when he played in Montreal.
Or the Roy Halladay stat when he played in Toronto.
Oh man, what a genius back in the day. Anyway, enough reminiscing about great players of yore who aren't in the Pacific League. Meanwhile, on my plate, I had the pleasure of following the Hawks this week, and I had a lot of fun watching them because they always score runs. They pretty much average, like, they're guaranteed to get at least 3 runs a game. But they also are guaranteed to give up about 3 or 4 runs a game. So they've been playing dead even 500 ball, 5 wins, 5 losses, 2 ties in the period that I've been watching them. But that being said, it's still a lot of fun to watch them. Yuki Yanagita is still going all out, leading the league in average at 344 and hits at 42. He's just playing fantastic right now, and a lot of the other bats are too. Just the pitching is struggling. Just holy smokes. I don't, I couldn't find the article, and no matter where I looked, it seems like it didn't exist. So I don't know if I had some sort of fever dream. But I swear I saw an article talking about how the Hawks were going to expand a scouting search into Africa to see if they could find like players who could play like pitchers. Now, I can't find where this was. I don't know if I made it up in a dream, but maybe the Hawks. I mean, they are a very diligent franchise that have a very extensive scouting network and a big farm system. So maybe they're just trying to find pitching anywhere right now because it is a struggle right now. And also, speaking of another team struggling around 500-ish, the Lions have been also having a lot of trouble with them. It's more feast or famine where there's some games where they just get blown out and some games they just win close, but it's a lot more losing than it is winning, but it is a lot of excitement. Today they came from behind for 3 runs in the 12th inning to win a game against the it was the Nippon-ham Fighters, who were wearing those gorgeous shoujo uniforms, the black and red ones. I'm so happy to actually see those in game. Have you guys seen these?
We're going to talk about it.
Man,
Amazing.
oh, they're amazing. But yeah, I mean, deadlock all game, and then they just score some runs there at the end to get through. Maybe they can get back on track, but it's been really up and down all season for them.
Jimbo, I found that article. Specifically, the team's front office is visiting Nigeria and Uganda. Uganda actually qualified for this year's under 18 and under 12 World Cup tournaments in Taiwan.
Okay, wait a minute. So I didn't make this up.
No, it just was
Okay.
6 days ago.
Okay, wow. I had no idea how I wasn't finding this, looking for it. But okay, thank God. Otherwise, I was like, man, I've been having really intricate dreams.
I'd actually seen that a few years ago that they were looking to set up, at the very least, baseball camps in Africa. I don't remember the countries, but there were some former players trying to set up, training camps, just grow the game. So that does make sense.
There we go. I mean, anything that helps grow the game of baseball, I think, is a great thing. And sort of like European football, soccer, expansion to African countries, I'm sure you'll find a lot of really talented players who otherwise, generations previously never would have even thought of playing baseball. So maybe one day we'll have like an African superstar, and maybe not just in the MPB, maybe in MLB too.
A bit off topic, but did you see that kid from Uganda who finally got a college opportunity
No, in what sport? Like in baseball?
in baseball?
Oh no, I hadn't heard about this.
He's a catcher, and I've been following him a couple of years. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was really trying to get any form of high level play he could get. And you saw in some videos he was uploading on social media. I'll have to send you his Twitter account once I find it. Like he's doing catching drills with like it looks like a homemade catcher's gear. The baseballs look really beat up. Like he's doing everything he can.
Wait, I'm starting to think I may have seen this. Like I've seen like some really like a guy practicing in some pretty sort of like very homemade kind of dialect situation, but he seems really committed to trying to do it. So yeah, maybe that was the same guy. Okay,
Yeah, a few years ago, he was seeking any college opportunity, and I think he finally got one, or it was an invite to a wood bat league, something like that.
Well, good for him. That's awesome. That's a really great story. Well, I mean, if we can find that and sort of add that to next week's podcast with some more information, that'd be a great little follow-up.
For sure.
Now, who do we have next in the standings? So, Eagles talk.
All right, so Rakuten, 6 games back, 15-20 record. 2 games off of last place, which is currently held by Nippon-ham. A bit of exciting news. There is a new ballpark opened up in Iwate Prefecture, Kitagin Ballpark, and Rakuten opened it up. It's not going to be, their new stadium or anything, but I think it's going to be a new touring stadium for them, or at the very least, just a new local stadium. And they beat SoftBank 3-0 in that. And all 3 runs came from solo home runs, one from Tsuyoshi Yamazaki, one from Hideto Asamura and Michael Franco. And also Asamura and Michael Franco went back-to-back on that.
Today's Japanese terminology, back-to-back home runs are referred to as abekudan. Abek being a rough translation of the French avec.
Huh, that's strange. Okay. Do you have any idea why that? Sorry, I want to focus on that for a second. Why they go French there?
I don't know. I mean, you'd expect Japanese language, with regards to baseball, to largely be focused on borrowing from English, and a lot of it is. But in this case, I think they just went with something a little more fancy.
Little more cosmopolitan, as they say.
Alors, yes.
Alors, oui, absolument. Maintenant, je vais faire le reste du podcast en français.
Hey.
Bienvenue.
PL English channel. We don't have the PL French channel yet.
Oh, I cannot wait to start la podcast. And so that brings us to the basement dwellers, the unfortunate basement dwellers, because,
Hey,
man,
buddy.
I love their stadium.
Almost
Oh, you weren't done with the Eagles yet? Why do I keep thinking you're done?
You started speaking French.
That is fair.
Okay, so a bit of a running joke, but it goes back to 2021 if you've been with us for a while. Everyone's favorite American import, Masahiro Tanaka,
Ah,
has a 2-2 record, and I think he's another guy whose record doesn't really tell the whole story because some of his losses that he's gotten or his no decision, they've been the same. I don't have a score sheet up right in front of me, but it was like 2 runs, 3 runs, 1 run, apart from one game when I think he had like 7 runs. But like a lot of them have been completely doable for Rakuten. And then I guess probably the biggest news, Takinaka had a no-no going into the 9th inning.
Oh no, he got Steve, didn't he?
One out to go.
Oof.
Seibu, pinch hitter, Shota Hinamura, just got a single and broke it up.
Man, Seibu is just playing the role of heartbreakers this season. They can't win a games they're supposed to, but they will just turn the knife and ruin your night for you.
Fighters time. I've been keeping an eye on them. They're 2-3 in their last 5, yeah, but they're not out of the race yet. Although we say they're in last place, they are only 4.5 games back of SoftBank for third. It's a long season, and anything can happen.
That is
Especially
true.
when you have good power bats like the fighters do. Taiga Egoshi, Chusei Manami, Ariel Martinez, and Yuki Nomura all have 4 or 5 home runs on the young season. Ariel and Taiga both hit 2 over the last week. So the power bats are starting to come alive. Go Matsumoto sits third in the Pacific League in batting average. Good return to form. Always good to have that table setter. And who's impressed me lately is Takayuki Kato. You know, I always refer to the fighters having 3 aces. Hiromi Ito, Naoyuki Ubasawa, and Kato. Over 51 and a third innings pitched, over 7 starts. Guess how many walks Kato has issued?
2.
You are correct. Only 2.
Oh.
No one else has fewer than 8. And his 2.58 FIP is second in the Pacific League. So he's been impressive, most especially back on Saturday when he twirled a 4-hitter complete game shutout over the Marines.
Well,
yes.
I mean, a complete game shutout against the Marines. That, how impressive is that really? I mean,
and now, okay, yes, we have to talk about the uniforms.
Yes.
I know SB Nation picked it up and they thought that this is the future of uniform design. To me, they kind of look like the Vancouver Canucks meets Harley Quinn.
Oh, that's a terrible assessment. That is the worst take I've ever heard in my life of anything ever. That's awful. No.
I mean, I can appreciate that having the full player name on the back. It's a fun look. The off-center cap logo, though.
Oh, I think that's great.
the flared collars, though.
Yeah.
That I can see working, because that's almost a throwback to teams back in the 1950s who did have those rather large collars when they wore things under their jerseys. So I'm okay with it, but man, I'm not digging it.
Nah, I could not disagree more. Like when I was watching the game today, I was just so happy the whole time watching it, especially the way Shinjo wears it with like the V as deep as possible, showing off as much chest as possible. It's just, I've never seen a uniform in sports that's got so much attitude and so much like, we're just going for it. I don't know. I just think it looks fantastic. What do you think, Michael?
They're amazing. We need more of them.
There we go.
I want the collars to be as big as humanly possible.
I think every team should do something like this year, in the coming years, where like you just have one uniform that's like totally outlandish, just like go crazy with it. And like, yeah, some of them will be bad. As I say this, I remember some like growing up, like I've seen some really bad like baseball uniforms and sports.
Are we really going to bring up turn ahead the clock here? Come on.
Oh man.
Or that time the White Sox had shorts.
Yes. Yeah, that was actually one of the things I was thinking. But I don't know, it's part of the fun of sports. I think sometimes an ugly uniform just kind of makes the game, but these are not ugly uniforms. Those fighter uniforms are amazing, and I want to see more of them in the future.
Let's take a quick check-in on some of our former friends who are doing well over in the majors. Hearty congrats to Masataka Yoshida, his first career MLB triple tonight at Fenway Park. A line drive to center field and hustling all the way around was a run, so it's an RBI triple as well. And we have to talk about the phenom, Shohei Ohtani.
Always.
In a game at Camden Yards against the Orioles, Ohtani was the first starting pitcher since 1964 to reach base 5 times in a game. He came a double away from the cycle. No pitcher has ever hit for the cycle.
It's comical. It's insane. It's breathtaking. There's not enough superlatives in the world.
And the best part is, unlike these other Tungsten Armo Doyle games, the Angels won that one.
Hey!
That also wasn't his first cycle watch this season. I think he had one earlier where all he needed was the home run.
Was he pitching that game?
He might
or
have
are we
been.
just
He was on Sunday. He picked up 7 innings, allowing 4 earned runs.
Okay. Not the worst outing in the world.
So let's take a look at our viewer questions, and we do have a new post up on our community tab, so make sure you are subscribed so you can ask a question of us. I'm taking a look here, and the oldest question, let's go with that one. With the young potential the fighters have, could Chusei Manami's words in a hero interview of the fighters being late bloomers and rising to playoff contention come true? I think your optimism for their Pierre G. Hedgehog needs to come from Ito and Uesawa getting their feet under them and the lineup getting solidified with consistent playing positions and reliable performances. Still a young team. I think they can still play spoilers. It'll be fun to see if they can make a push.
Yeah, I mean, Kiyomiya was my personal sort of breakout performer pick so far this year. I mean, at the beginning of the season. And so if he can live up to his potential, and we know he has, I mean, the man is potential personified. If he can bat the way he's supposed to, maybe they could make that final push. Michael, what do you think?
I do think it's possible, and I mean, really the only way I can sum it up is all you have to do is get the third place, get into the playoffs.
That's true. Yep, and the
gotta
Pacific
do.
League is pretty close.
I also want to shout out the other comment here from Nanashi2 Anonym2 asking history trivia, Shinto's contribution to PL's popularity. I'm not sure if they mean Shinjo and they typoed it or Shinto, the religion. Let's check back on that one.
Let's check back on that next week. Tune in next week where we find out what the answer to that question was.
Take care, everyone. Have a great week of baseball.
Bye-bye.
Be sure to like and subscribe for more English content. Sign up with Pacific League TV for live game broadcasts, including interleague and farm teams. For viewers in the US or Canada, watch PL games with English commentary on FTF Sports, Tuesday through Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, or without commentary on WatchDingo.com simulcasts under the Baseball Network.